Hey, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great weekend and getting through everything that they need to be getting through, making some cool stuff, or just sitting around on the couch, hanging out, watching stuff, or in some people's cases, unpacking some boxes, hopefully, or at least thinking about unpacking some boxes. Hope everybody's doing great, and yeah, hopefully I'm going to finish up this stool today. We're going to find out. I tried yesterday, but just couldn't make it happen. Ran out of time. So let's pop over to the overhead shot of my bald spot, because that's the best angle that there is. Right. Awesome. All right. So in yesterday's adventures, we finished off the legs, kind of smoothed them out a little bit more, chamfered them off, cut the top slits here, and I'd mentioned that I needed to make sure that I cut them perpendicular to the grain of this, and it actually turns out, although I should probably be doing that, I need to cut it perpendicular to the grain of the seat, because if I put in the wedge this way, it's likely to split that off. So we're gonna have to rotate these two a little bit more 90 degree, and hopefully it still looks pretty good. I had a really hard time cutting a couple of wedges the other day as well, and went off and looked for a couple other suggestions, and really found a couple of things, but we're going to try that today. That's pretty much the last bit, and trim up the feet. So we're going to actually do the feet first. And the first thing I need to do actually is level the seat top off. So we're gonna bubble level on this here. There we go. Get rid of this. Get that out of the way for now. So we've got to level this off, and playing with it earlier, this leg there needs to come up to about there. And again, there's a little bubble level up here, which I know you guys can't see, but it makes me feel better. We got to come up not that much on either side here. So we do that much there, and that much more there. We're level there. We are almost level there. Better. Likely to call that good enough, but it's pretty close. Oop. Took the level off. See that there's a question there. I'll get to it in just a second. So used to leveling a tripod with a ball head on it instead of doing it this way. Hey, John. Yeah, it's been a while, huh? Alright, so now need a block that is that far off the ground. Is anybody else working on anything good out there? You are actually a little too thin. You are just a touch thicker. And the old blue painter's tape locks everything down. So now that I've got everything leveled off, let's see if I can get the laptop camera to show this here. Now that the top is leveled, what we can do is basically, and I know that my tabletop is level because I looked at that earlier, which certainly is one of those things that you need to remember. But now what we can do is go around the leg here. Is that in that camera view? No, it's not. Maybe that is now. We can go around the leg with the line, and that's going to give us a level to the surface line to cut on. See how much shorter, well, maybe you can't because of the angle over there, but this one's going to require much less cutting than these other two. And Kite, if you're out there or you're watching a replay or whatever, this will end up being the final height of the stool, which got a decent line all the way around. And we'll measure the final height afterwards. Actually, why don't we measure where it's at now? I'm gonna bring that back up. Late night stream, yeah. This is a before work stream for me. We're 18.5 off the surface, and it looks like we'll be losing about an inch or so. So tomorrow after work you get to reassemble the bed. Excellent. Excellent. And you guys found a floor. That's even better. I've got a floor over here. Actually over here it's underneath all the wood chips. But you are going to pick up and put in the trash, right? Which I'm being reminded I'm going to pick up and put in the trash. Of course I'm going to pick up and put them in the trash. Why would I not do that? Why indeed. So, but actually I'm going to be making a second one of these soon, and I'm going to be very interested to start with it with a clean floor so that I can see how much actually ends up down there from one stool. I think it's going to be a fun little experiment, to say the least. So that is that. All right, so with that, this is the last time I pull this apart. And if I can see where I just threw that pen, I discovered that I lost my little marks. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Those are all going to get cut off anyway. And I believe that matches. Well, it doesn't. 1, 2, and 3. Well, y'all can remind me that this one is 1, 2, and 3 a little bit later. Gene, are you guys liking the new place? Is it, have you started getting used to some of the sounds? This one. Put a little latch on this down here. These drawers keep opening with the force of the table, or with the shaking of the table there. And I'll check that message there in just a second. Voila, number 2, I think. I will indeed remind you to remind me, Jen. In the basic of it, though, is that I'm using OBS software to connect both of the webcams. And I am using something a little bit different for the audio, but I believe that OBS can go ahead and separate the 2 different audio sources on its own. Like for instance, if I was running audio through the laptop right now, the laptop is on this table, and you probably see it shaking all about. Doing the hokey pokey. I felt the need to say that. But the audio is actually coming off the top camera there, so hopefully it's a little bit better at the very least. I would imagine that there's probably some noise and such, but I noticed the first web stream, I was getting a lot of the fan noise off of the laptop as well. OBS is pretty simple to set up, and there's a lot of little things you can do with it. You can create different scenes and such. And that's kind of how I have this set up for the streaming soon. And thanks for watching. See, there goes that drawer again. What I'll do is I'll chamfer these legs down at the end as well. There is a way through OBS also that you can set up little macros and stuff, so that on key presses it'll switch over to the other scenes that you have set up. I have that set up at work, but not here. But realistically, for here I'm only switching between 2 different. Well, until the end. But yeah, anyway, nonetheless, Jen, we can chat about that at some point as well to get a little bit more in depth in it. Like everything, there's a lot of YouTube videos out there to show you how to set it up and stuff. There's for various video games and stuff, there's a lot of plugins and such going along with it as well. And then I'm using, so I'm actually not streaming direct to Facebook. I'm streaming somewhere else right now, and it is streaming to Facebook. But it's also, I'm actually also streaming over to YouTube at the same time, which nobody's really watching there. It's just more for backup at this point. But I can also go over to Twitch as well at the same time. Not sure, are you looking for crafting, or are you looking for creative stuff? Would be my guess, but you never know. It could be for gaming, right? Just knocking off these corners here to help them prevent splitting it. Whatever point in life. I'm not doing a great job. I almost want to switch over to my carving knife. I think I'm going to do that. Let's just see if it's where I'm at. Yeah, for leatherwork, yeah. Yeah, I think it kind of also comes down to, there's Twitch, there's YouTube, there's here. I haven't quite figured out, did I lock up? Oh no, I see myself moving. I haven't quite figured out where the best place to stream to stream is, really. There's creative stuff going on over on Twitch, but I don't know. Definitely doing this more just to kind of hang out. Corey, I use the Scary Sharp method, which is the sandpaper method. I've got several different grits of paper. I'm not the best at sharpening by any means, but that's the method I go with. I bought a flat tile at Home Depot. And use that as my surface. And then a little bit of Windex and a couple different grits, really. The sharper tools, I'm starting right with 800. I've got what, 8? Got my basket that I made up at the hunt there, but well, I've got 4, 8, 15, and well, 2, and I just found a thing of 3, so or 3,000. So I'm probably probably the next time around I'm going to go 8, 15, and 3. And you know, if it's something like that spoke shave that I have that I've really got to start almost again with. I've got some lower grits. I've got a 4, a 4 and a 150, and yeah, I like plate glass, but it's just a regular tile, and I just get this stuff. It's nothing really too special, but I get this from Home Depot here. It's the Imperial Wet or Dry, and that's the key, is that it's the wet or dry stuff. You use a little bit of Windex on it to help as kind of like a lubricant, but it also helps keep the metal particles that you're scraping off, keep them clean as well. But yeah, I'm not terribly good at it, but it works. It's kept quite a bit of this good for me. I do have some sharpening compound as well for stropping with, but I actually don't have that leather strop piece yet. I just haven't gone through and made it yet, but I really need to. That spoke shave that I have is just dreadfully dull. Yeah, I think what I like about the method is it is accessible to me. A lot of people are using the diamond stones, and they're pretty expensive. And I'm not talking about the diamond stones that you can get at like Harbor Freight, but I kind of want to. I want to kind of keep with a method that, well, the sandpaper isn't exactly what we do in, you know, medieval times or whatever. I think I can fake it to look like stone at the very least, even though a diamond stone is technically almost looks like a stone in a way. But I think if I was to get something else, I would get. Yeah, I don't think that I don't think I'd bother sharpening it like at a demo at an event. I would just come with sharp tools already. Because I don't think that's what people would want to see at a demo at an event, you know? It's like, oh, hey, look, he's sharpening tools. Even if I had like a grindstone or something, I think that watching woodworking would be more fun than watching sharpening by any means. That said, to my I bought a Harbor Freight axe, and I took a metal file to it and reprofiled it and then sharpened that back up as well. There's a little rust spot here. This guy here is just a little more a carving knife, a 106 or something like that, 106, 104, actually say on the outside of it. No, but yeah, I know there's weird people like us that would want to see it. So in the long run, you know, in kind of thinking of that, I would like to get the I need to do a little bit more research, but piece of stone like found at some of the Viking finds for a whetstone, and see how difficult it is to sharpen with one, and how well it does at maintaining the edge going onto it. It's somewhere in one of the, not somewhere, in one of the drawers with my sharpening stuff. I also have a little Arizona stone that you can get at Home Depot, and I was thinking about carving it down into like one of those pendants there. I just haven't gotten around to it. Most of the ones at Home Depot are straight up they come in these little yellow here, let's see, they come in these little yellow plastic cases, and you pop it out. They're just glued down. But this one, most of them are just straight up white. This one's got a little bit of a patterning going onto it, so I think it'd be neat to carve that up and get that into my kit at the very least. All right, that was great. And yeah, actually I've got this is my like little carving bag there. That's got a couple of my carving tools in it. And I used to have a couple of other pieces of sandpaper in there just to help keep stuff honed. But all right, now I need a couple of wedges. And this is where I got hung up the other day and headed out to the interwebs. I just have to do what I didn't want to do. What I had done is I had cut a piece off and then cut them into 3 smaller pieces, and then tried to shave one down, and it just, I don't know, it wasn't working well. So, I mean, pretty much other people were just taking their saw and cutting at an angle on it. So that's where we're gonna go. And it's hardwood. Don't know that I have a great way to slice this otherwise. What else do I have that I could hold that in place with? So if I cut this way, I can't get into it. I just need to cut off the edge of the table that way, which, yeah, duh. Just cut down on it. And then we'll use a slightly finer tooth saw. Why am I cutting straight? I never cut straight. let's go to the better saw. I need a new one. Because I don't know that I'm ready to learn how to sharpen saws yet. So much wiggle in this. I don't think that there's a way to tighten that down anymore. I could use an axe, couldn't I?
Nope.
I might.
Nope.
Boom. One. That's a really bad one. But I see what worked well there. try those. One, two, no, maybe. Alright, we'll give those a try and see what happens. Worst case, I break a leg, right? I mean a chair leg, not a leg. Because I guess that would be really, really worst case, right?
That would be bad.
And I'm not 100% sure that my axe is quite sharp enough to do what that would have needed being done anyway. Alright, so we decided it was 1, 2, and 3, right? One, two, must be that way. That foot is sitting good on the ground there. And 3 because that number's facing me that way. Might actually be wide enough for 2. It's gonna work, but that will Alright, so these are a couple of pieces of maple. So we're gonna just see how that does the trick, right? And in the immortal words of everyone who has ever made anything, here goes nothing. Let's try to adjust that a little bit so we can see. But speaking of the axe, we're going to use the back side of the surface here. And that immediately split off the wedge. Take 2. Let's get this back on there. And we'll see what happens this time. Alright, well, bada bing. A bada boom. So on that first wedge, the edge was broke off real quick, and I was able to sharpen it up a little bit. But these other two went in just fine, and well, we're gonna say voila. Voila, indeed. Now, I did not use any glue, and the plan was not to use any glue, and we will see how long she holds up. But I will use a little bit of tape around here. That's not to hold it in, but it's kind of for the next part, which is to saw this bit off, and I don't have quite the right tool, but we're going to see if this dovetail saw does the trick. There. And we are moving all over the place. I want to cut towards my hand. Aha. Let's try this trick. Working as well as I want because it is angled. Okay, we just do it by hand then. That's how it works. And I never get these things the right way the first time, right? Let's see if going this way. Is a lightweight stool, which will be good. Perfect for taking to court and looking the part. This thing is going all over the place. Where am I making this, Scott? I'm making it at my house. Is that what the question is? Voila. One down. And by taping it, it kept some of the ugly saw marks off of everything else. And we will see if we can reuse it for the next one. And for what it's worth, this saw worked really well. I didn't think it was going to, but it certainly did the trick. There is a, especially because this has a little bit of a back piece, or it's got a back piece to it, so technically it's not flat to the surface. There's a type of Japanese saw that's just flat that people use for this sort of work here. So what isn't working is the handle is bumping there. But that worked. Which leaves the last one. I'm kind of curious to see what happens if I do it without the tape. But you know what? The tape's working really well, so we're going to keep working really well, right? It's a rustic stool, and I'm sure it's going to get markings and all sorts of stuff in it over time, but might as well keep it looking good now. I don't know what I'm going to finish it with. I don't want to leave it just unfinished, but I'm afraid that my normal concoction of I have a butcher block kind of beeswax coating that I use on a lot of my stuff, but I kind of feel that it might not be the right fit for this. I'd almost be afraid that it would stain any clothing. That's the last thing you want, is stains on your pants. Interesting. You could definitely feel when it was cutting through the maple versus the pine. But in a nutshell, everyone, this is a three-legged Lund stool using a 2x12, 2x8, and a couple of pieces of hardwood for the wedges. There's there. Does that work? Wow, what happened there? It's well, anyway, it's probably the frame rate from the whatchamacallit there. It's a LED light up here above me, right up here. This white spot there that you see. And pretty much, voila, I've got a couple of pen marks on here still. I think I'm better off with just a little bit of sandpaper at the very end of this. Let's see if that piece would be way too much. Oh, this one's got metal grit all over it. All my sandpaper over there does, so let's find. Let's find a little bit here. 60, 150. Oop, just got a half-used piece. So 60 and 60. Down a few of the edges there, and then I'm going to go to the legs to get I might pull that carving knife out again here in a minute. Still got a couple of pen marks on here. I might have to go and do it with a second grade. Certainly smoother with the hand plane actually, but I kind of expected that. I might have to get another, take another pass at this with something smoother. think I've got a different grit in that, which I don't, but let's see. Got these little cheap Harbor Freight ones here too. Which go down to 80 and 400 in here. I don't like using this brand of wet dry on the woods stuff. I need to get something just one grit heavier, I think, on the other. So what I can just all of a sudden start seeing here is, despite the fact that I went across the grain, I can see that this leg here is splitting, and that the grain twisted because of that knot that's right up there. And I can see that it's splitting. Bum. That's like you get all this way for nothing. Yeah, we'll see how it does. I don't know, maybe we'll try to get a little bit of glue in there, but I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up or not. Yeah, I went across the grain here, like I should have. And this knot just twisted that all around, didn't it? Grr. Well, it should hold up for a little while at the very least. I could see if I could get some glue in there, and just that would help keep it together over time. But in the caught up here. But we'll see if this shows it in use for the first time. Well, it definitely holds my weight, and that's the most important part. It's probably not the shot you all want to see, come to think of it. So anyway, there we go. And yeah, I guess at this point I'm going to sign off. Well, Angela, that was I think the answer right there, right? Is that I did, and it holds the weight. So again, there's this little crack starting right there that I think I'll see about getting some glue in there and go from there. But we're gonna call this, with the exception of some finish, we're gonna call it done, and who knows what we're gonna start on next. I know that I need to make another one of these, but I'll probably make that one off air, and work on something else on air. So, y'all, thanks for joining me on this process here of this Lund stool, Viking stool. Well, whatever. Viking stool from Lund, Sweden, and yeah, it was fun. It was great. It was made out of a 2x2. It was fun. It was great. It was made of a 2x8. So that's all I got. That's it. We're signing off. Y'all have a great night, and we will talk to you on the next time. Have a great one. Thanks for watching. Let's find